City, a city that even now bears the marks of its history, is an old-fashioned city located in northern Johto, situated in the woods between tall Mount Mortar and the open fields near Johto's western shores. As with many of the larger cities in the Pokemon world, Ecruteak has a Pokemon gym led by Morty, who specializes in ghost-type Pokemon and hands out the Fog Badge to those who defeat him. Ecruteak is known as a historical and mythical city. Fittingly, its buildings all feature traditional Japanese architecture. The tallest building in the city, and perhaps all of Johto, is the 10-story bell tower in the city's northeast corner, built nearly a millennium before the events of the game. This city is known as being a center point of the legendary Pokemon native to the Johto region, with the great Ho-Oh once being said to have roosted atop the bell tower. And having created 3 legendary beasts of the Pokemon who perished where the brass tower burned down. Places of interest: Ecruteak Dance Theater. The Ecruteak Dance Theater is where the Kimono Girls dance and battle. The Kimono Girls are Hyoko, who has a Flareon, Sayo, who has an Espeon, Suki, who has an Umbreon, Kuni, who has a Vaporeon, and Miki, who has a Jolteon. There is also the Ecruteak Gym. The Ecruteak Gym is the official gym of Ecruteak City. It is based on ghost-type Pokemon. The gym leader is Morty. Trainers who defeat him receive the Fog Badge. Most common trainers in this gym are sages and mediums, and of course, Morty. His most common Pokemon used are Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar. The Ecruteak Gym has an invisible floor with an invisible path running through what seems like a dark pit. If the trainer steps in the wrong place, they will be sent back to the beginning of the path. The gym trainers appear to float in the air, standing on the invisible floor. The path to Morty mostly follows each gym trainer's line of sight. In another version of the gym, flames light up some dim patches within the gym. While there is still one path to Morty, sections are lit up, revealing trainers that must be battled in order to reach the gym leader. In addition, when a trainer is defeated, the lights will go out at the section where the trainer is standing on, forcing them to navigate through the dark patch with the help of their memory. Later on, stepping over the edge of the path will cause the trainer to be sent back to the start. The bell tower is positioned in the northeast of Ecruteak City. Ho-Oh formerly perched at the top of the 10-story tower, but flew away after the other tower in the west of Ecruteak City burned down mysteriously. The bell tower is an icon of Ecruteak City and a place of high sanctity among people in Johto, with only select people being qualified to enter. The burned tower. The tower was built 700 years before the time of Generation 2 and 4 along its twin, the Bell Tower. The towers were meant to foster friendship between people and Pokemon. People, mostly ancestors of Ecruteak City gym leader Morty, traveled to top of these towers to commune with the legendary Pokemon residing there. The Burn Tower is a location in Ecruteak City formerly as tall as the Bell Tower to the east. It burned down due to a lightning strike 150 years prior to the events of Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. before the Great Fire that caused the destruction, the tower was called the Brass Tower. According to some legends, Lugia once perched here. However, when the tower burned down, Lugia fled to the Whirl Islands to live, while Ho-Oh, which lived in the Bell Tower, flew away in search of a pure-hearted trainer. Pokemon Legendary Beast. In the Johto region, 150 years ago, three unnamed Pokemon, either having always been Entei, Raikou, or Suicune, or starting out as a different Pokemon entirely, were present inside the famous Brass Tower. One day, a lightning bolt hit the tower, starting a huge fire in it, which would be later put out by a sudden downpour. The three Pokemon perished in the fire, but as the sun rose, Ho-Oh appeared, granting the trio new life as legendary Pokemon. The three were to be said to represent the lightning, fire, and rain that transformed the Brass Tower into its current state. At first, the humans of Ecruteak City were in awe of this miracle, before that awe changed into great fear of Ho-Oh's power to manipulate life. This fear leads to the townspeople threatening violence on the revived trio in Ho-Oh. Instead of retaliating back, the trio and Ho-Oh disappeared into the wilderness. Initially, the trio never returned out of fear of the violence the humans would inflict on them. At some point, they returned back to Brass Tower, awaiting a time when they could trust humans again. In Pokemon Crystal, Raikou and Entei can be encountered roaming across Johto after interacting with them at the Bird Tower. Suicune can be encountered at the Tin Tower after the player obtains a clear bell from the Radio Tower Director. Any sighting of Entei near a mansion near Greenfield has been proven to be false. Raikou, a Pokemon that races across the land while barking a cry that sounds like crashing thunder. Entei, volcanoes erupt when it barks, unable to restrain its extreme power, it races headlong around the land. Suicune, this Pokemon races across the land, and is said that the north winds will somehow blow wherever it appears. Some trivia. Many refer to them as legendary cats or legendary dogs, depending on if they personally see feline or canine features in the individual Pokemon. However, they are more likely based on many different creatures and mythological deities such as the Raiju, the Chinese guardian lions, and the Qilin. On top of that, they also seem to have been stylized to fit the classic idea of three jungle cats or jungle beasts: the tiger, the lion, and the cheetah or leopard. They may also be based on the three celestial guardians used in Feng Shui: Pai Yao, Chai Lin, and the Fu Dog. The legendary beasts are the first legendary Pokemon to get a special battle theme. Though they first got it in Pokemon Crystal and Heart Gold and Soul Silver, each legendary beast was given their own remix version of the original legendary beast music from Gen 2. The three songs are similar but use different instrumental